Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Craig. How's everybody doing this morning? It is a fine Thursday morning. Sorry for running a little bit late, but I wanted to make sure that I had all of the information that you were going to need in order to have this conversation that we're about to have. Now, everyone is talking about bump stocks, and everyone is talking about the proposed ban on bump stocks. And it's a bill that's actually being authored by none other than California's Senator Dianne Feinstein, who has probably been public enemy number one when it comes to the ban of whatever firearm or firearm accessories or parts that she's trying to ban this week. So today we want to talk about her new bill that's been introduced. It's Senate Bill 1916. And this is an effort basically to ban, and we want to be very clear about this. This is a bill that will wind up banning not just bump stocks, because they're talking all about bump stocks, but it's not just going to ban bump stocks. It is going to ban numerous firearms, parts, and accessories. And I want to acknowledge this. I want to start by giving her an opportunity to tell you what the bill does.
It would ban the sale, transfer, importation. Our bill is simple and straightforward. Ban manufacturing or possession of accessories that accelerate a semi-automatic rifle's rate of fire to that of an automatic weapon.
All right, so let's be clear. Specifically what it does is it bans parts and accessories, anything that will increase the rate of fire. Right? Doesn't talk about what rate of fire. It doesn't talk about how much it has to increase the rate of fire, but just if it increases the rate of fire of a firearm. So, for example, certain triggers, certain trigger groups, sears, various different parts that are manufactured for a firearm that increase the rate of fire could potentially be banned under Senator Dianne Feinstein's bill. Now, last I checked, it's not only bump stocks. I didn't hear anything about specifically just bump stocks. And that's something that we have to be concerned about because, once again, if we're going to ban anything that increases the rate of fire, what could wind up being included in that? Well, people who are familiar with bump firing, or at least anybody who's taken a little bit of time to YouTube it, knows that there's various other things that fall into that category. A rubber band. A rubber band can be used to simulate the same exact thing that a bump stock does. So, is this now a firearm accessory that is going to wind up being banned? So, in other words, if you are in possession of one of these, if you purchase one of these, are you going to be guilty of a crime, subject to the penalties thereof?
Those who violate the ban would be subject to the same penalties as those who illegally possess machine guns.
So in other words, buy a rubber band, and now you are guilty. Buy a rubber band and own a semi-automatic rifle, and you are now guilty. Guilty, I say, of purchasing a machine gun. That is the crime of which you are now going to be guilty. How many law-abiding citizens who purchased and who for no reason at all, just because they want to, because maybe, I don't know, maybe they need a rubber band or a hair tie. Hair ties are included. So, because I purchased a rubber band because I need to hold things together, and I own an AR, could I potentially be guilty of constructive possession? I don't know. Do you? Does she? No, she does not know. And that's what happens when you have someone who doesn't understand firearms technology and doesn't understand firearms law trying to write bills. And the worst part is, she's not alone. This is why we're trying to ban this particular measure. This is why we're trying to fight Senate Bill 1916. But once again, as I said before, she's not alone in this. She really honestly and truly believes that we ought to be, that people ought to be working together, that she wants to bring Republicans and Democrats to the table. And that's fine. I have no issue with bipartisanship. But here's the thing. Republicans who are willing to sign on to this bill don't even understand what it is and what it does. Why? Because most of them don't understand firearms law or firearms technology. They just know that in many cases, they can't win re-election without the pro-Second Amendment vote. So we want to encourage you to let them know that we're watching Senate Bill 1916, and that they ought to vote no on this particular bill. Because in the end, here's what we know. We know that their goal is not to ban bump stocks. Their goal is to ban firearms, period. They want to ban all firearms, right? They'll start with the semi-automatic rifles. Then they'll go to the semi-automatic handguns. Then they'll just ban guns altogether. Now, those of you who don't believe that, go about your merry way. Do what you want. Don't bother going to the website. Don't bother going to stopS1916.com. Don't bother going there if you believe that all she wants to do is ban this one particular device. Or even better, if you believe that this bill only bans this one particular device. I know that's not her desire, but even if it was, we know that the measure that is being written is not going to do just that. Now, I want to encourage you. Google this particular topic. I know that we're not the only ones saying this. But I do know that we're the ones that are doing something about it and giving you the opportunity to do that. So once again, I want to encourage you, go to stopS1916. Go there and make sure that your voice is heard on this particular issue. This is a very vitally important bill. So we need you guys, go there, check it out, and make sure that your voice is heard. Anyway, with that, I will take any questions that you have. Now, if you're asking about legal questions regarding bump stocks, once again, I'm not a lawyer, and most importantly, I'm not your lawyer. So, but I need you guys to know and understand that this bill does have implications far beyond what it is that the good senator has shared. And I know that, by the way, there are people who are going to sign on to this bill who their real desire is they just want to make sure they really do just want to ban bump stocks. Now, whatever your position is on that, we're just saying this. Look, it's not about the firearm. It's not about the accessory. It's about people who desire to do harm and do evil to others. Now, last I checked, no civilization, no government ever has been successful in legislating evil out of people's hearts. Last I checked. Anyway, Jonathan Jensen says, I own a lot of guns, and as a hunter and sportsman, I think that's our right as Americans, but I don't understand the use of a bump stock. That's Senator John Cornyn. Once again, you don't have to understand it. The thing that we really need to understand is, why would an individual want to commit mass murder like this? That's the thing. This is a people thing. I mean, think about this. 80% of all firearm deaths that are not suicides are related to gangs and drugs. Yet we're letting people involved in gang crime and people involved in drug crimes out on the streets. At least we are here in California. And we're seeing crime and violent crime go up. This is a people issue, not a tool issue. It doesn't have to do with cars. It doesn't have to do with knives. It doesn't have to do with guns. It has to do with people and their motivations to want to do harm to others. That's what we need to be. That's what we need to be addressing. I want to say your name. I'm going to butcher it. Signord. That's gonna be it. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. You can correct me in the stream if you want. Anyway, it says, let's ban turbochargers, slick tires, and fidget spinners if they are going to be banning accessories. Okay, so he's saying, let's ban a bunch of stuff. If something is going to be involved, if we're going to start just banning stuff that in and of itself causes no crime, does nothing wrong, well then let's just start throwing a bunch of stuff in there. Jeremy says, if we allow them to ban bump stocks, the left will then say all semi-autos should be banned because they can be bump fired without an actual dedicated bump stock or bump fire. It's a trap. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It is a trap. Their goal, like I said, Jeremy, and I said this earlier, their goal is to ban semi-automatic rifles. And then their goal is to ban semi-automatic handguns. And then their goal is to ban all handguns, all rifles. They won't be happy until, if we go to bow and arrows, they'll do that. They've already tried to ban tasers. So it basically what they want to do is, and here's the worst part. The worst part is that criminals aren't going to get rid. If a criminal has a bump stock, they're not going to get rid of it. If a criminal has a semi-automatic rifle, they're not going to get rid of it. They're not going to get rid of their standard capacity magazines. They're not going to get rid of their ghost guns. They're not going to get rid of them because guess what? Lawbreakers don't pay attention or don't care about the law. So who winds up being disarmed? Who winds up being at a disadvantage? The law abiding. Us. That's who winds up being at risk. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, apologize for running a little bit late today, but we're going to be back, and we're going to be doing some more live feeds talking about some of the federal bills that are up. So I want to encourage you guys, share the word, spread the word. It's real easy. When you guys see that we're up live, you can share it on your page, and everybody within your sphere of influence on Facebook is going to see it. And they're going to have an opportunity to check it out, whether they watch it live or whether they watch it whether they watch it afterwards. They'll have an opportunity to get the word. Most people don't know that this bill, that Senate Bill 1916, does not only ban bump stocks. So it's important that we get that word out and why it's such a bad bill. So remember, spread the word. Help us help you fight for your rights. Anyway, folks, take care, have fun, stay free.